I forgot to do the lesson, sorry. All right, number 1. Did I write it down? Yes, I did. Good for me. For each angle, state the measurement. I kind of accidentally. I think I sometimes look at the book and it gets in my head, maybe. I don't know. Number 1, what is its reference angle for 150?
30.
So basically, it's how far is 150 from 180? 30 degrees. So number 1 is just 30 degrees. Okay, number 3, negative 115. So that's in the third quadrant. So how far is that from, well, basically how far is it from negative 180? So you could do negative 180 minus negative 115, or just 180 minus 115. How far is 115 from 180? 65 degrees. So number 3 is just 65 degrees. Okay, number 5, sketch each angle. Sketch means it can be a little bit rough, just don't get crazy. Sketch each angle and its reference angle, then state the measurement of the reference angle. So number 5 is a little bit weird because it's in the first quadrant. Its reference angle is itself, or it kind of doesn't really have a reference angle. Its first quadrant angles are the reference angle, so yeah. Doesn't really have one. But the sketch, okay. So we talked about what's the angle of a perfect diagonal?
45.
45. So 52 is a little bit bigger than that, so it should be a little bit past, it's not perfect, but it should be a little bit past the 45. A little bit steeper. Sketch it, and then if it's a first quadrant angle, the reference angle is itself. So we'll just rewrite 52 degrees for its reference angle. Number 7, negative 140. Where would that be? Well, this would be like negative 90 if we're going backwards. And this is negative 180. So negative 140. It'd be 40 degrees away from this one. So almost in the middle. A little bit closer to 180. So again, it doesn't have to be perfect. It's just, something like that. Negative 140. Okay, what is its reference angle? Basically, it's how big is this angle right from there to there? How far is it from 180? 40 degrees. Or how far is it from negative 180, I guess, in this case. 180 minus 140 is 40 degrees. That's the reference angle. So in other words, if you plug in like cosine of negative 140 and cosine of 40, you should get the same thing, except for cosine is negative in the third quadrant. Number 9. How do I draw a 210 degree angle? Well, 210 degrees is 30 degrees past what? 180. So 180 is right here. 30 degrees is basically a third of 90, so it looks about like that. From there to there, 210 degrees. Oops. And its reference angle, again, is how far is that away from 180. So 210 minus 180 is 30. 30 degrees reference angle. Number 11, 860. Oh my, oh goodness. I wonder if they drew the loop-de-loos on this one. What number are we on?
11.
Yeah, they did draw a lot of loop-de-loos. Okay, where the heck is 860 going to be at? Or 8, yeah, 860. Well, I'm going to unravel it by one rotation at a time. If I subtract 360, that's 500. If I subtract another 360, so go backwards another loop, that's 140. Basically a 140-degree angle, but it's 2 rotations plus 140 degrees. Have we drawn 140 yet? No, we drew negative 140. So negative 140 look like that, so 140 is going to look, you know, going in the positive direction. Okay, so here's how it works. 360, 360, 140. So that is 860 degrees.
Are we supposed to be drawing loop-de-loops?
Yeah, draw the loopties.
Wait, so the reference
Where
angle
did you work with
11
lines?
is 860.
No, 860 was the original angle. The reference angle should be between 0 and 90 degrees. All right, so the reference angle is how far away from this, from 180 is this. Now, remember I said it's 140 degrees past, you know, from here. So it's basically it's 180 minus 140 would give us the reference angle right there. So it's 40 degrees. That's how far away it is from 180.
So, how did you get 140?
Okay, because you see over here I subtracted 360. When you subtract 360, you back up a full rotation.
Okay.
So it's like I unwound it, 1 rotation, 2 rotations, and I was 140 degrees past 0 still. For each angle, state the measure of one positive. This part's kind of easy. So we need a coterminal angle, one positive, one negative. So what's an angle that's going to end at the same spot as 140? Okay, if you just add 360 to that, it would end at the same spot. So what's 140 plus 360? 500 degrees. Okay, but it also said we need a negative angle. So how do I do a negative? Minus 360. Negative 220. So a negative. Now there are a lot of possible answers for these. I'm just going to use the ones that are closest to the original. We could add 360 like 100 times. That would technically be correct. Not make my life difficult though. Alright, 15. So negative 315's angle they give us. How do I turn that into a positive angle? Add 360. What's negative 315 plus 360? 45. So 45 is a coterminal angle with negative 315. How do I find another negative angle? Minus 360.
75.
Negative 6, yeah, negative 675. Okay. For this last part, we're going to need a little bit of special triangles magic. State the exact value of each ratio using special triangles as reference angles. Yeah, I definitely need that stuff. Okay. Yeah, we're going to need both those special triangles. What's the ratio for 45, 45, 90?
1 square root of 2.
And 30, 60, 90.
1 square root of 3 and 2.
Okay, we're going to have to use that. and refuse trade also. I'll read.
Let's go.
Cosine of 135. So, what is, you don't have to draw the picture for this, but what's the reference angle for 135? 45. So what's happening here is it's making like a 45, 45, 90 triangle. Just like if you drew a 45-degree angle in the first quadrant, those triangles are identical, congruent or whatever. So that's why the ratios are the same. Anyways, we got a 45, 45, 90, so it's a 1, 1, square root of 2. And on number 17, we're supposed to do the cosine of that angle. Cosine of 135, not 45. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. So what is adjacent to 45? And what's the hypotenuse? Okay, so if you plug cosine of 135 in your calculator, I don't think a lot of calculators would give you that answer. They'd probably give you decimal, but we're supposed to put this in. But you can't leave the square root on the bottom, so multiply top. Some calculators can do this automatically, but multiply top and bottom by square root of 2. And yes, thank you, it's negative.
That's what my calculator.
Your calculator was smart enough to do it. It's negative square root 2 over 2 because, yeah, we're going left. Basically, this x value is not 1, it's actually negative 1 because we're going left here. Cosine is negative in the second and third quadrants. Every time. Tangent of negative 45. Where would negative 45 be? Perfect diagonal going down to the right, negative 45. So the ratios are 1, 1, square root of 2. Yucky. And on 19 we're supposed to do tangent. Tangent is what over what? Opposite over adjacent. What's the opposite of this angle?
1.
1. What's the adjacent? 1. Okay, again though, this tangent, this 1 right here is actually a negative 1 because it's going down. It's actually more like negative 1 over 1, which is negative 1. I didn't talk about the quadrants that tangent was negative in, did I? Naughty. We'll just think of these numbers as like positive 1, negative 1. I always think of the hypotenuse here as a positive number. But the x and y's can be positive or negative. I wonder if the book did that. Yeah, if you turn on page 447, the book did a little table of positives and negatives for sine, cosine, like what quadrant that would be positive and negative in. You could kind of cheat and put it in your calculator and get a positive and negative. I don't really care if you do that or not. But not all calculators can give you like square root of 2 stuff kind of answers. 21, cotangent. Uh-oh. Okay. Actually, you guys are going to have to help me. I don't remember. I put this up for geometry, but have we talked about cotangent and stuff?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Whew. All right, cotangent is the reciprocal of tangent. So it's adjacent over opposite instead. But okay, what was the angle? Negative 120. So negative 120 is going to be like, how many degrees short of negative 180? 60. So when I use this special triangle here, it's short leg is 1. In this case, it's more like a -1. Long leg is square root of 3, but since it's going down, it's more like a negative square root of 3. And this one is, hypotenuse is always positive 2. And cotangent is adjacent over opposite. So what is adjacent to 60 degrees? -1. And what is the hypotenuse? Or sorry, what is the opposite? Okay, if you negative divided by negative is positive. If you multiply the bottom and top by square root of 3, you get square root of 3. Kind of toughies, aren't they?
So how are we supposed to figure out the triangle?
Okay, so they told me 120 degrees, -120 on this last one. So I just figured, basically I figured out the reference angle. 120 is 60 short of 180. So that's where that 60 came from.
And
So-
then we'll just give the other thing one.
Well, and then for the sides, I've just been using the special triangles.
Can I go to the bathroom?
Yeah.
With the side view and negative one.
So I basically did this triangle, but it was 60, 30, 90, but it was upside down on that picture. The short leg should be the 1. Hypotenuse should be.
That's what I was wondering, because I can figure out the rest from that.
Well, I drew my picture carefully because 60 degrees is kind of far away. I mean, so I knew that this would be the short. Anyway, yeah, the 60 degrees should be next to the 1. They're tricksy.